G'day, Captain Australia here. So it is almost 8 o'clock, a couple of hours this morning, and I'm just taking a break. And since it looks like we have a bit of signal, I thought I'd do a live stream. So, g'day. Right now I am under a bridge. Beside the highway, probably about, I don't know, 20k north of a town called Macville. So I'll pass through there at lunchtime. And the following day I'll probably pass through Gladstone at lunchtime. And then after that I'll be away from all this bloody freeway and we'll head on to some nice country roads. G'day Tiffany, happy Wednesday to you too. Is it Wednesday? I'm losing track of the days. Dawn says, morning, how are your something? Sonia, good morning Captain, good morning Sonia. So, yeah, Macville lunchtime today, Gladstone probably lunchtime tomorrow, and then after that, country roads and beach, and then I follow the beach all the way down to Port Macquarie. So, for those who've seen me walking around just lately with the big flag and are trying to figure out what it's all about, good morning, Alex. It's Captain Australia's Big Walk. So my name's Simon. I survived the stage 4 cancer, but I couldn't bounce back. I have 3 young kids. I tried really hard. I just slowly, the hope in my life withered away. And cancer's like that. Sorry for all the traffic noise. It's a relentless disease that tries not only to kill you, it tries to take away your hope. And yeah, I just couldn't come back. I was dying. I was slowly dying. I was a ghost. And then I realized I needed to take a big walk, and that's what this is about. Initially, it's just about self-repair, I guess, and rebuilding my own hope. And then I realized if I was going to do a big walk, I missed the truck, I could superhero up for science, which is why all the superhero gear. Captain Australia is all about the Kids Cancer Project. So that's a charity trying to help the 950 Aussie kids every year diagnosed with pediatric cancer, and the 3 a week that die, sadly, 2 days. So these are cancers that specifically attack children. And they are very researchable cancers. So it's all about research hours into softening the treatments and making them more efficacious, effective. So, somebody last night asked me to talk about how to cope with grief. Sonia says, I love that you saw a need and you took action. Superhero up for science. Way to go, Simon. Thank you, Sonia. And yeah, look, there's a third dimension too. I think that this mad quest is at least a little bit and somehow helping other people. So the response has been that people find it useful to, I guess, build hope in their own lives. So if I can show you concretely that a broken life can be fixed, and that, I mean, I was in the darkest of cages, that a dark cage can be escaped, then that's a good thing. And if that's useful to other people, then that's another reason for my quest. So, yeah, last night someone asked me to talk about grief. Like, I don't know, I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. It was 6 months to live, and I had a 40 to 60% chance that chemoradiation might reduce its size so a surgical option could be unlocked, or might even totally be curative treatment, get rid of the cancer. And I got lucky, total metabolic response, bang, cancer gone. But the whole process inflicted a certain kind of grief and fear on me. And for me, it wasn't a fear of death. It was the idea of leaving my little children, because I'm a good dad and I love being a dad. Good morning, Sue. And it was just a real kick in the nuts. The idea that I could, sorry, I should have said guts, kick in the guts. The idea that I'd leave them and subject them to grief from such a young age as well. And my middle boy is autistic, and somehow that might be even more of a blow for him, because he thrives in the light of my love, and I thrive in his. So last night there was a comment about talking about how I cope with that sort of grief. And the thing is, and the point is, I didn't. I failed, and it's so easy to fail. I allowed it to just gang up on me. And one of the biggest mistakes I made was just pretending to be okay. So in the love of my family, I was able to do the daily minimum that you needed to survive and get through and appear to be normal. Morning, Dorothy. Um, and that daily minimum might appear more or less normal from the outside, a bit flaky, slightly falling to pieces, but not too bad. And I wasn't. I was suffering, but I didn't ask for help. And if anybody said, "How you doing?" I'd be like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, I'm okay, thank you." So that's a big mistake. But the worst mistake was to allow my hope to wither. So when I was asked how to cope with grief, that's what this is. This is my solution. But the fundamental tool, the solution doesn't matter. What matters is the trying. The how is unimportant. It's the trying that matters. And the trying is underwritten by hope. Okay? So hope is this fundamental fuel. It is this profound power that if you unlock it and grow it and share it, it gives you the ability to tackle almost any problem. So, medication, therapy, whatever, maybe those things are part of your solution. Your solution is unique to you, but it's not about the solution. It's about the vigilant, consistent attempt to solve your problems. And in order to do that, you need to have hope. And hope is one of those simple and sort of nebulous words. But what it really means is believing in your bones, in your absolute bones, that a positive outcome is available to you. That if you put in the work, that if you continue to try, you can get better. And I'd allowed my hope to wither to this tiniest little spark. And for me, what restored hope was just the idea of a big war. And for you, it could be anything. It could be starting to go to AA meetings, right? It could be, diligently trying to fall back in love with your partner. Whatever shape hope looks like for you, it's about working optimistically towards a positive outcome. So I didn't I didn't process my grief. I didn't manage my grief. I let it accumulate. But once I unlocked hope, and hope is amplified in the sharing. Okay? So hope grew in me when I decided to walk, but when I decided to help the charity, it multiplied. So instead of here, it was here. Okay? So that when you be of service, when you have some kind of like an optimistic path, when you take your hope and share it, that makes you more powerful, more capable of dealing with your grief and your pain and your problems. And for me, it's only really since I started walking. So December last year, I weighed 140 kilos. The chemo radiation wrecked my thyroid. As soon as I started walking, bang, I lost like 60 kilos over 6 months. Um, my mental outlook turned around completely. And even then, I still hadn't processed all of the grief. So in the first weeks of this walk, uh, I would walk along the ocean. I'd see the light coming down through the clouds. I'd feel that natural beauty and how far away I had come from nature. And I would weep. Not even weep, sob. Sob. And what I was doing was letting go of that grief. The fear and the pain that I'd been carrying all that time. So somebody asked me to comment about how I coped with grief and how I coped with my cancer and my pain. And the answer is actually that I didn't. And how do I think you should cope? You ask for help, and most importantly, you cultivate a sense of hope. And the hope isn't about what your specific solution is. It's not about what your specific strategy is. It's about trying. And if you fail, don't let that failure discourage you. It is only a failure if you repeat it. You turn your failures into lessons and you keep on trying. That's it. That would have been a huge bundle to let go of, says Sonia. And you would. 100%. Yeah. I mean, it came bursting out of me. Like if you open an artery and blood comes gushing out, except it was just poison. grief and pain that I'd carried with me, you know? The idea that I could inflict that sort of grief on my children, the guilt of that, the shame of how I let that sort of take away 4 years of my life, and also even things from my past, from my childhood, things that I failed to process along the way. So that's, I mean, I'm sure there's still little bits bubbling away, but most of that's gone now. So I get to replace it with something else. And I'd like to replace it with something beautiful, something that survives, something that I can pull out and look at and smile. And maybe that's part of the charity that is part of that. You know, when I get to the end, I can put in my heart this little piece of adventure and always be able to pull that out and look at it. Even if cancer came back for me, I could look at it and say, well, you know what? I did something good. You know, I tried. I did my best. Anyway, and yes, Sonia, you're right. Once you release it, you do. You feel lighter for having put aside your burden, I think. And grief is an unnecessary burden. You know, even if you've lost someone you love, if you can get through the grief, you can then celebrate the life of that person who was so precious to you. Keith says, so good that you've been processing all this and amazing you're sharing your experiences now. You're so much stronger than you were. Yeah, thank you, Keith. Thank you very much, mate. I think that's right. I am. I'm stronger. You know, I mean, there are still some things that I don't think I have the tools to deal with. And look, this whole kids cancer project, I've met parents having to face up to some really dark realities, and I couldn't. I don't think it's in me, and that's a part of why I'm marching too. I'm really genuinely trying to superhero up. As ridiculous as it sounds, I march, and every step part of it is just purely and only for those children. It's not for me. It's not for the charity. It's for these little faces. And if one life is saved, like if the treatment's got better for one life, for one child next year, that's one unborn child every year that follows because the numbers go down permanently. Anyway, so that's what it's all about. As I've been walking around with my big old flag up, through the middle of nowhere. I'm getting beat by truckies and stuff. I think people are noticing and starting to wonder what it's about. So I'm glad to have a good signal so I can sort of explain it a little bit. Sonia says, I love that you're genuinely wanting to help all those kids. Well, thank you, Sonia. Rihanna says, you're helping a lot of people, Captain. I'm delighted by the idea that anybody gets anything from this, Rihanna, to be honest. So that's an absolute joy. And it just reinforces that hope, kindness, love. They're circles that we build together, you know? Or maybe for Captain Australia, the better metaphor is it's like a boomerang. You throw it, and it comes back. It won't always hit you in the head, but the person standing next to you might get clobbered by it, and clobbered by kindness, I mean. But yeah, anyway, so we're under a bridge. We're about 35k south of Coffs Harbour. Next up is Maxville. After Maxville is Gladstone. And from Gladstone, I turn towards the ocean. So we're going to start seeing lovely country roads again, farms, and maybe a little bit of rain and that sort of stuff. And then I'm on the beach all the way down to Port Macquarie, so that's going to be lovely. My only worry is water. So I need to drink a good 4 litres a day, and I need to carry a good 5. So I set out yesterday morning with about 5, and I'm down to about 1 now. I'll be able to fill up in Maxville and then again in Gladstone. And after that, though, and along the beach, I might need to ration a little bit. We'll see. I'll play it by ear. I can always wander into a farm and chuck it on a live stream, and you can watch me beg someone for water. Tiffany says, I look forward to hearing you every day, Cap. You lift myself and others up more than you know. Thank you for sharing yourself. Oh, that's just, I don't know what to say, Tiffany. That's just lovely. I, I have no words. I'm humbled by that. I've accidentally fallen ass backward into that. Honestly, you know, I'm trying to do something righteous, and the idea that that is of a benefit to you delights me. Absolutely delights me. So, if there's anything I can do a better job at, if there's anything you reckon, I need to talk about more, like the suggestion you talk about grief. that was useful. Yeah, chuck in more suggestions. Tell me what you'd like to hear about. But yeah, for now, I don't know how long I've been sitting here. A little half-hour rest, so I'll sign off and have a bit of a drink of water and maybe one of my protein bars, and then I'm marching south. So all the best. Thank you for your time this morning. I'm glad the stream has been non-poopy. Sorry about the bad attempt last night. Hey, boy, missed the truck. So here we are on the motorway. That's what my day looks like, to be honest. Just more and more of that, and then lunch at Maxville, maybe. So, thanks for your time. Take care of yourself. All the very best. This is Kickity Captain Australia signing out. Cheers.